Hello guys, this is Modest Major here, bringing you some commentary over some CTF gameplay. The score in the background is a 42 and 3. Overall, pretty respectable gameplay. It's on the map Adrift. You guys probably know how I feel about Adrift by now. I think it's a pretty great map, especially for CTF. Probably my second favourite CTF map to Simplex. I also thoroughly enjoy Pitfall, but the problem with Pitfall is that it rarely comes up on Halo 4, so I haven't had Halo 4 matchmaking, so I haven't really had the time to adapt to the metagame of Pitfall and how it works with Sprint. So I can be kind of amateurish on that at times. I've only ever really played it in customs a lot. And second of which is that it was in Halo 3, so I kind of know the map inside out, and it's a little bit tedious at times, I would say. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is kind of regarding the idea of competitive. I've actually been playing a lot of competitive customs games recently, thanks to the Battle Royale where I played doubles with Crossman. That really incentivized me to start improving at the game. I kind of got to the point where I realized, I was barely even half the skill level of someone like Crossman. And it also led me to, being introduced to a lot of other players who were kind of under the radar but still ridiculously strong, like Bopshot, Night Ninja, Chewy Nutcluster, who's actually an incredibly good objective player with a beast sniper. And these players are just, underrated, and their skill level can't really be put into words. I would need to practice a hell of a lot more to even attain half the skill level. And honestly, for me, one of my biggest problems as a teenager was that I just couldn't take the heat of the competitive gaming scene. Honestly, I would take losses to heart really, really badly. I'd get upset with myself. I'd be really defeatist. And it's something that I'm trying to get over now, and it's definitely helping that Crossman and players like that are really modest in victory. They're very gracious in their victories, and, they don't gloat. I don't think I've ever heard Crossman gloat. And that helps you improve as a player. I really can't take it when someone boasts. I get really mad at them. And I just don't think it's the sportsman-like thing to do anyway. That's something that I don't think I'd ever do when I won. Or at least I try not to. And basically, it's made me realize that the biggest problem I find with casual gamers, and the reason they don't want to enter competitive gaming, is because they're so, a lot of them anyway, and a lot of people I've met have the same problem, is that they're so competitive that they become casual. And what I mean by this is that they don't want to take the losses. They don't want to take the losses so bad that they're afraid to put their right foot out there and, start practicing, and they're ready to take a few losses. And I was definitely one of these people. I could not handle the fact that I was going to take a few losses, and it's probably one of the reasons a lot of people don't like the fact that I post this casual pub stomping gameplay, is because they know I could be better, but I'm not really like taking the risk and going out there, putting myself out there and taking those lumps, taking those defeats, and trying to refine my skill. Because honestly, that's going to be the best way to do it, is having to approach players who you don't necessarily know how to beat at first, so you have to change up your tactics, mix up your strategies, and just try and make it work however you can. And that can definitely be difficult. Sometimes I get absolutely destroyed. I've had games where I've played worse than I've ever played against people like Crossman and Bopshot. But it's definitely, it's refreshing, and it also, brings you back down to earth, makes you realize, yeah, maybe I'm not the best in the world. As much as these pub stomping gameplays might make me feel like I'm on top of the world, that's not necessarily the case. And as a kid, I used to do stuff like play easy mode campaigns. I used to never challenge a game that I knew would take a long time and had an incredibly high skill curve. I used to be intimidated of games like that, and it's definitely slowed down my gameplay, and it's something that I wish I could advise to all of you guys, is just find the right crowd and practice playing as a gamer better. Gaming is definitely my favorite hobby and favorite pastime out there. And honestly, what I've learned over the years, I wish I had been told, a long time ago. I wish I had been told, just sit down there, calm down. No one's going to care if you've lost. Everyone loses at one point. Everyone is worse than someone else at one point, and you've just got to take your lumps, and that is how you get on the road to succeeding. It actually brings up a story from the Smash Brothers documentary, which is extremely fascinating. Is that there was a player who was known pretty much in the community as being a very low-level player, very amateur, and amongst the community he was almost known as a sort of joke. And in order to improve, he started challenging all the top players in the Smash community to a money match. And basically, if you challenge top players, they might not necessarily put their full force into it because they know that they don't want to be giving you away their tactics in Smash Bros, and they don't want to make you have an absolutely terrible time, so they do something called sandbagging, where they kind of play at half level and they act as a sandbag for you to practice against. Whereas in Korean DJ, this player that I was talking about, what he decided to do was money match them, so they had to play their fullest, and he'd keep money matching every player, and it was almost like he was actually paying for tutorials from the pros, and he eventually ended up becoming one of the top players out there and winning tournaments left, right, and center. And that's just something I extremely admire, willing to take these losses, paying to take these losses from top players, but in the end, it actually worked out for him because he got to adapt and learn all these strategies that the higher players were invoking. And like I said, taking losses, it sucks at first, and those hard games where it almost feels like you want to cry by how much you're being pushed into a corner and just almost embarrassed and humiliated. Those are the games where, as long as you're not autopiloting, as long as you're actually trying to learn from your mistakes, you will progress as a player and gain momentum, and eventually it should help you in the long run. At least, that's my hope. I never know how much genetics and just natural born skills really come into play in gaming. It's kind of hard to tell. Definitely I've seen certain players who have put so much time into Halo 4, and they don't really have a great KD to show for it, and their skills haven't really progressed that much. But you could kind of say that, yeah, maybe they weren't trying to learn from the mistakes. Maybe they were just, autopiloting too much and not using their mind to work out why things happened the way they did. Or whether they just don't have the necessary, hand-eye coordination skills to do so. The funny thing is, I actually have a hand-eye coordination problem. It goes by the name of dyspraxia, which makes me really bad. It intentionally should make me really bad at that thing. So, sports, I can barely play them. I can't understand them, I can't grasp them, and I can't, catch and throw a ball very well. I don't know why gaming I'm relatively decent at. But anyway, I wanted to close off this commentary by shouting out the BTB network. The BTB network is a network similar to Dawn, and I've actually been working with them. It's led by Buckeye Breeze, and I've been on their podcast. I appeared 3 weeks ago, and I'm appearing on this week's podcast. And I thoroughly advise you guys check it out. Cleanup is actually going to appear on the podcast. Cleanup is the guy who invented Battle Royale, if you didn't know, and I thought it was a really good time. Links will be in the description. I've been Modest Major. Thank you for watching. Peace.